Okay, today on the Former Critics podcast, we're going to be talking about
Why do you hate Pirates of
our.
the Caribbean?
It's Caribbean. Say it right. I'm just kidding.
What the hell ever.
Just
Literally, actually, whatever. Caribbean.
no, I'm just joking. Yeah, literally. Well, yeah. Well, we'll get into that.
No, we're getting into it right now. Just no intro, just straight to it. Okay, fine.
Um,
Just kidding. Do
and
your little intro. I'll wait
you
patiently.
are little intro. Well, we even though Logan watched the fourth and the fifth one, we won't be talking about those
I will be, certainly.
because he said they don't matter.
A lot of miscommunication, a lot of gaslighting between the two of us. What else is new? The fourth and fifth movies, for the record, are not canon and do not matter. But then you were like, well, we're gonna watch them anyway. And I was like, fine. Wasted my entire Saturday
I was
watching these
just
two.
joking.
Yeah, well, and then I told you I was doing it, and you just didn't say anything. You, you were
Um,
just like, okay, cool, I'll just let you do that.
Wait, I isn't there like Disney rides or something that you like have to like ride to get part of the storyline of
I don't know about
Pirates?
that. They are based on a ride, which I say based
Right.
on like Disney had a pirate ride, and then they were like, well, let's just make a movie inspired by pirates.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
it's really weird. The ride came before the franchise, which is odd.
Did you ever like go there and ride that?
I feel like I may have. I went to Universal in LA when I was like 10 or something.
Right, right.
Um, and I know we went on rides. The only one I have vivid memory of is Shrek 4D,
Right.
which, by the way, our next episode will be about the Shrek franchise.
Yeah, okay.
He
Um,
thinks I'm joking.
didn't speaking of that, aren't they making like a new one?
Yeah, thank God. We're so back. Did you see the
Right.
new Puss in Boots?
No.
Well, obviously that
Yeah,
was I shouldn't have even asked that.
I remember you were
It's
saying that it was like the best movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a 5 out of 5, by the way. So make sure you put that on your little watch list next to all your fucking neon
Right.
trash.
Yeah, okay.
Just kidding, I
Um,
like neon.
um, you just don't like long legs.
Yeah, you know what? Is this the first time we're gonna have like add an addendum to a previous episode? I'll go on record and say the more I think about long legs, the worse it is. Genuinely, I'm doubling down on my so-called hot take. Long legs script is absolute garbage.
Um, you're just like vindicated from the comments on our last post.
Yeah. The cinematography is still great. I still like Osgood Perkins. Nicolas Cage still did a great job. Atmosphere is cool. Trash script.
I mean, yeah, literally. I don't, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe. I think I disagree. But
All
I
right.
want to rewatch it eventually, maybe when it's like at home where we can like watch it at home. And
I
then
saw the TV Glow is coming to HBO next September. I mean, this September, next month,
right. Well, anyone that hasn't seen that should go watch that.
obviously.
Um, oh, I forgot to tell you, Pirates, fucking Twisters. We
You
watched
saw
that.
it? Oh my God. I'm
Yeah.
so scared right now. What you say next does make or break the podcast and does protect both of our peace. So,
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't give it like a 5 out of 5. It was like a 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't like a masterpiece,
that's very fair.
but it was like I thought it was action packed for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah. Three out of
Um,
five is very fair. I think I liked it just because it hit every single button that I wanted it to hit, like subjectively. But 3 out of 5 is an extremely fair grade for it.
we had Ashley's parents watch it, and we were thinking that they were gonna love the movie because they're like really picky about movies, but one type of movie that they love are like natural disaster movies. They will literally not watch any movie. They're like so picky about watching movies. They like hate
Yeah.
watching movies. But
Well,
they like we were like, oh, like you're gonna love Twisters. It's like action packed, it's natural disaster, it's like your type of movie.
yeah.
And then they're watching it, and we check in with them, and they're like, "Yeah, we fell asleep. It was too
Wait,
boring."
it's already available at home?
I think so. Yeah.
Whoa, okay. It's still making like millions at the box office like daily, but whatever. Um, you will obviously your first mistake was not seeing it in 40x.
Oh, right. Wait, did you see it in 40x?
No. I remember last
Oh
time I
yeah,
was
yeah.
complaining about it because freaking Deadpool. And then by the way, like it was literally like Twisters was in 40x for 1 week, and then they put Deadpool in for 1 week, and that's the week I saw Twisters. Then they put Twisters back into
Right.
40x the following week. You know what I'm gonna do in
Yeah.
November? Vote.
Right.
That's never gonna happen again, and it should be illegal.
Um, yeah, and I'm surprised because like even Ashley is surprised. Like they literally don't like any movies. And we were like hyping them up because they love natural disaster type like
Which
action-packed
is like a really
movies.
weird thing, by the way.
That's just like their favorite genre. And then they just like didn't like this one.
Does Cloverfield count as natural disaster? At least the first one.
Uh, right. Natural disaster.
Just be like, you guys are gonna love it, and it's Cloverfield paradox.
Um, the uh I didn't like the country music aspect.
Yeah, you know what? Straight up, like this movie isn't for you. If you if you can't handle the country music, if you didn't like listen, did you hear the religion and science line
Um, I think so, yeah.
from Glenn
Yeah.
Powell?
Um,
Literally, there was a guy in overalls holding like a rifle to my left, and then to my right, there was like a scientist with blue hair, and like she was wearing
right.
like a lab coat, and she had like just invented a new vaccine. And when Glenn Powell said that line, the three of us stood up and embraced.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, you were like this healed America.
did it? Well, you're up in Canada, so you didn't get that.
Yeah, we just didn't understand the country music aspect of it.
Yeah.
Um, fuck. Yeah, I liked it more than I thought it was gonna be. I didn't like oh also by the way, Jelly Roll is like a huge fool for us and he's like on the soundtrack for the
What did you
movie.
say? A fool?
Yeah.
What does that mean? He's a fool for you? What?
He's like he's just like a he's like one of our guys that we like make fun of, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I don't know anything about Jelly Roll. I know he has like face tattoos.
Right. Well,
So, all
he's like
right.
the biggest guy in America right now, you know?
He's no, he's not. Is he?
Yes,
This is
every
news.
what do you
This is
mean?
news to me. Who? I, don't- I he has
He's like the
songs.
biggest
I know
artist
he
in
sings.
America.
That's so amazingly not true. I'm gonna actually let's see how many. I'm gonna pull up the receipts right now. How many listeners does he have on Spotify?
Like so many.
21 million. He has 21 million. Listen, Chapel Roan is bigger than that right now. Chapel Run is double. Chapel Run is 40. What are you
Oh my
talking about?
God. No, I don't know.
You're just like trying to make like an innocent joke or whatever. I'm just like, fuck you. Fuck your entire life. Fuck your viewpoint.
You're
All
like,
right.
it's hot to go. That's what we're
That's
talking
kind of, I
about.
feel like that's kind of the basis of this podcast is you just like state like an innocent opinion. And I just, I'm just like, well, actually, like as a person, remember like when you did a shitty thing back in sixth grade.
Right.
And
Um, but he's like the worst guy ever. So we just like make fun of him. And I mean, yeah, he might only have 20 million followers on Spotify, but
he's
you know,
literally not that big anywhere. Like,
he
I
was
know who he
just in
is.
Twister.
Wait, he was like him,
Or
like,
no,
or his
no, like the
song.
music, the music, the music.
Oh, I mean, that doesn't, okay.
He was just doing a song with Eminem. What do you mean? And
Oh,
MGK.
okay.
You're like, oh, okay.
Just wouldn't have pictured that. I mean, I probably heard it. Was it in this movie? Then I've heard it.
Right. Well, he is just like a fool for us. So when we saw that he was gonna, because well, I made a joke to Ashley, and I was like, when we heard all the country music, I was like, they're gonna have Jelly Roll on this
Oh,
soundtrack,
okay.
and then there he was, you know,
Thank God. I mean, the Venn
because
diagram of like fans of Twisters and Jelly Roll is probably a circle.
right.
But then again, here I am. So
You probably secretly listen to Jelly Roll. I don't even want to hear it. You're probably just mad because I like am making fun of him.
I did bring him up on Spotify really quickly.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I literally like I know that I've heard him sing. I couldn't tell you any of his songs. He has one with Lady Wilson, who is a country singer who like I actually really like her voice.
That I
Um
don't even know. Like, who is Lady
she I mean
Wilson?
she's not that big either. They have a song together.
That's
She
crazy.
Lainey Wilson is like the most like she has the countryest voice like in radio right now. Not that I'm just sitting here like I listen to country music on radio. And country music radio, which
Yeah.
I listen to every single day. No, I just know that they have a song together, and that's what I know about Jelly Roll. And he has facial tattoos, and he with I think Sabrina Carpenter rung in the New Year with Ryan Seacrest for 2020.
Right.
That is what I know about Jelly Roll.
Wait, on a side note, what kind of music do you listen to? Like, what
We
would you like go
literally
to in like if you were like gonna like hang up on the pod and you were just gonna go like hang out and listen to like a
we
music?
literally have an episode about this.
What do you mean?
Taylor Swift.
Oh,
The
I mean,
gag,
that's it.
the silence, the pregnant pause.
Okay, like besides Taylor Swift, because that's
Like
like a
honestly, okay,
memorable.
like is a genre, but anyway. uh,
Right.
no, I do like country music. Like I honestly haven't listened to it a lot lately. I would say 2 or 3 years ago I was like super into it. Now it's kind of like
Right.
back up. Because I like artists like Sabrina Carpenter and like I literally did go through like a Lady Wilson phase for like a month or whatever. Um, Ingrid Andrews or whatever her name is, who
Right.
famously completely bombed the national anthem like so badly that she checked into rehab. But like,
Oh, that girl, yeah.
don't listen. Her songs are actually like really good, and as a songwriter, she's like really clever. I thought so.
Right.
That was just like an unfortunate performance, but like she's good as an artist. Um, yeah,
That's
Maren. I
crazy.
was into Maren Morris. She's kind of annoying, but like I years ago I was super into her. Um,
Okay, but do you like Chapel Roan?
yeah, yeah. Chapel is the thing right now.
Are you having a brat summer with Charlie XCX?
Yeah, I would say I'm having a Brett summer. I do like Charlie's new album. I have like my brother is like absolutely obsessed with Charlie, and like
Right,
he sends me like a lot of stuff about her and has for like years. This is her first album that like I genuinely like. I think I like front to back. This is
right.
like easily her best album, I think.
Um, yeah, Ashley listens to it like every day.
Yeah, no, it's
But
good. I love Apple. I like Sympathy is a Knife is like such a banger.
right.
And it's crazy that that hasn't like that's not a single yet. At least I don't think. Her song with Lord was so good. Can we bring back Lord?
Right. She
Lord,
never
can
went
we?
anywhere. She's like still making music.
No, she went somewhere. Where has she been since like 2015? I don't know.
Didn't she
Where has
just
she
put out
been?
an album like a couple years ago?
She put out one album, I think in like 2021 or so, but like it doesn't count. It's like not that good. So let's
Right.
bring her back for real. Lord, we're
Uh,
interested in bringing you on the podcast.
I just had to lay that out. I wanted you to explain your music taste to the world.
Yeah, I mean, well, thank you for
Besides
this
Taylor Swift.
opportunity. Um, okay, what about you? And if you mention or don't mention he is we, I
Oh
will
my God.
scream, and that's the end of this podcast.
Remember when He Is We went viral this year on
No,
TikTok and then like I was like listening to them like 11 years ago?
11 years ago. We graduated high school 12 years ago. You were obsessed with them in high school.
So like I listened to them like 15 years ago.
Yeah. Remember, every little thing you say, I just have to like
Yeah.
attack for like no reason.
You just made my point better. Thank you.
I'm
Um,
very science based. This is a science based podcast first and foremost. So like let's stick
right.
to the facts, please. Thank you.
Um,
Me as I
yeah.
make the glaring generalizations and like blatantly incorrect assumptions. Anyway.
Okay, so like fuck Jelly Roll and fuck Lady Wilson and fuck all countries.
All right. Well, it's Lainey Wilson.
Oh, okay, yeah. You just like
Also,
convinced me.
what is your music taste?
Um, well, you know, like obscure stuff that no one listens to, because I'm just a hipster.
Just like your movie taste.
Right. I mean, honestly.
You know what the thing about you is?
What?
That's such a that is such a like a menacing opening sentence. Um, the reason I called you for this podcast about Pirates of the Caribbean is I'm about to clock your shit because the thing about you is if something's popular, you hate it.
Not everything. It's not true. I don't hate
Pretty much
Chaperone.
everything. Oh, how
I
could
think
you?
Chaperone's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, but when like she also still has like that kind of like underground thing, even though she has 40 million, like she came up so quickly. It's like if you know about her at this point, you're still it still feels like it's underground,
Right.
even though I've been listening to her for at least a year. Literally, literally, I remember when I first started listening to her, she had like 5 million something listeners on Spotify. So
Right, right. Um, I mean, I guess you're not wrong, but I'm not like I don't just hate everything that's I like popular things. Thank you very much.
okay, that was all I had.
I used to own a Pirates of the Caribbean on DVD when I was like 10.
Then why do you hate them?
Well, I don't hate them. Well, I mean, yeah.
Not how you made
I
it
mean,
sound.
I mean, well, they're not for me.
Who are they for? They're the most mass appeal movies maybe ever, besides like
You're so
Twisters.
funny. I don't besides Twisters. Um, I don't know. Well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's break this down, actually.
Just everything you say, I'm just gonna like challenge like so viciously.
Um,
This is what
oh,
happens when I get to pick the episode subject
I mean,
for
honestly,
once.
right. Um, what wait, how should we start this? Do you want to like give like a recap of the films?
Okay. Um, Pirates of the Caribbean. Based
Caribbean.
on
Come on.
based I'm not changing. Based on the hit Disney and Disney ride. Um, a swashbuckling series of adventures following around our favorite pirate, Captain Jack Sparrow. Did you almost choke on that, by the way?
No.
Okay, it just looked
Yeah.
like it. Um, sorry, I'm like absolutely like just locking up right now.
Yeah.
You just put me on this. I'm like, what are they about? Um, no, I don't know. It's like just the coolest adventures, like over the in the sea,
On the
in the
sea.
seven sea. I'm like freaking out. Like I'm visibly sweating right now. Okay,
Um,
yeah, what were you gonna say?
well, I was gonna say that uh
That's my summary.
swashbuckling. Um okay, Elizabeth Swann, played by Keira Knightley, gets kidnapped in the first one,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
Johnny Depp has to like save her with Orlando Bloom's character.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
That's kind of like the plot.
Yeah, I mean, so I love these movies because like they all like even four and five, they all kind of do explore like a new kind of avenue of like pirate lore. Like
Right.
the first one has like the curses and like this, the Black Pearl is obviously like in the first one built up to be like this really like menacing like ship
Yeah.
and like the skeleton crew and it's so cool. And then like the second one, the second third obviously they bring in like Davy Jones who like by the way, one of the best blockbuster villains of all time,
Okay.
obviously.
Okay.
Along with Beckett, by the way. Beckett straight up is one of the coolest villains.
Um, wait, is Beckett the
The East India Trading Company guy.
okay, all right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense. There's like so many characters, honestly.
I know. And that's the thing. I like these movies. I like the first three movies, I should clarify, because like there is so much going on in them, but like they all tell like a really consistent story. Like
True,
I
true.
love Will and Elizabeth's arc from like where they start to where they end is genuinely so cool. I
Right.
do kind of have a theory that like it's not really a theory, I guess, but like they I would say Will and Elizabeth are like the actual main characters of the first three movies, and Jack Sparrow is like he's obviously the face of the franchise, but he's kind of
Right.
like a just kind of like a secondary character in terms of like growth and development in the
Yeah.
plot.
And like things that are like happening in the story. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, he still has his own arc. Like he's still like like with the compass thing and like
Yeah.
putting together a crew that's willing to like literally sail to the ends of the earth to bring it back to life. Like his arc is awesome, but like it really like the first three movies are the story of Will and Elizabeth. And then
Right.
I think a huge issue with four and five is like those characters are retired. Like their story is like pretty much definitively done, even though the fifth movie kind of undoes it actually. But they have to make Jack in like the more traditional hero role that like Elizabeth and Will kind of occupied,
Right.
and it just doesn't really work because he's not a hero. Like part of the appeal of him is like you never know what he's gonna do next, and like he will like at any given moment like betray Will or Elizabeth
Yeah.
or
He's like
be
an
betrayed.
anti-hero almost.
Yeah, and it's like in the fourth one, like they don't really know what to do with his character, and like they try to make him a more traditional hero. And the fifth one, he's just like a watered down, like terrible caricature of the first few movies.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. They kind of ran out of gas with him, and I think like by number five, it was kind of obvious that Johnny Depp was like over it, which is
Right.
disappointing because he gives such an amazing performance in the first few. Um, but yeah, I know we're mostly focusing on like the original trilogy, but I like
Are
the original trilogy because the characters are so good.
are they making like a sixth one?
I think so, but it's probably going to be a reboot. I don't. I think
Right.
Johnny Depp's. Like
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
don't
they're
know
going to
about
touch that. Like he lost his role in like the Harry Potter like Fantastic Beasts, which by the way, like thank God.
right. I forgot he was like in that stuff.
Well, it's
Like,
garbage.
uh,
So
um, but yeah, I think that like they're definitely like fun. I feel like I didn't realize, at least like back in the day when I was like 10 and I was like watching the first one, I didn't realize that they were like Disney movies. I thought they were just like movies, like, like just like some other production company just like made these things.
yeah.
And then when I like kind of I was like surprised when I first heard that this was like a Disney product.
Well, because like especially the third one is like a legitimately dark movie.
Yeah.
And like the opening scene with like the gallows and like all the innocent people like singing together is like, by the way, an amazing opening to a movie and just like not what you would expect from Disney.
I mean, true. Like I thought this whole franchise was a little bit like definitely a not really what you would expect from Disney
Yeah.
specifically. But I
It
think they did a good
is
job.
At World's End, the third one is Disney's last good live action movie. And I think that should be the title of this video, by the way.
Right.
Because I watched it and I looked back at like live action, like I'm specifically talking about live action Disney and not like any of the studios they bought, like Lucasfilms.
Right.
Disney.
Yeah.
Um, last good live action movie because that shortly after this they went into like the live action remakes of like Cinderella or whatever and like they try to
Yeah.
like they did like The Last Ranger or whatever it was, which is a knockoff of these movies anyway.
Yeah.
2007 At World's End, final good live action Disney movie.
I mean, well, it's been a while. Maybe they should focus on that. They just keep making these like live action like reboots of movies
Yeah,
lately.
like we didn't need Beauty and the Beast live action, like that was garbage.
Yeah.
Even they bought like they bought Lucasfilms and like completely bungled the Star Wars sequels and then like
Yeah.
the Marvel movies they bought them like halfway through, like they were good until they reached the end of the original vision and then like since then they ran them into the ground with like absolute garbage products.
Um, did you the special, I mean the VFX for these movies, I thought they were really good. And I feel
Very ahead of their
even
time.
I mean literally, and I feel like when you say like At World's End is like the last like good um a live action movie, I mean when like the VFX for that, the VFX supervisor went on this YouTube channel called Corridor Digital. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Mhm.
them, but they do like VFX, and they bring on like VFX supervisors, and then they'll talk to them and they'll react to like the movie scenes together with the guy who like kind of designed them.
Yeah.
And the guy who did At World's End, like there's like a scene where they're like shooting like cannonballs like at ships and stuff, and then the
Mhm.
guy's like walking down, and he has like his hand on the railing, and he's like bewildered by like the scene, and like everything's exploding around
Oh, you're
him.
talking about when Beckett loses.
Yeah. and
Amazing scene.
and what they did that for real with miniatures, and then they also like had to hand animate and mold and like make each individual splinter from the actual like ships and wood and stuff that's
Yeah.
exploding around him,
And
and it
it
looks
looks
so real and good.
and it's so good. It looks incredible. It's
Yeah.
such a powerful storytelling moment because like Beckett is the true villain of the original trilogy. Like
Right.
Davy Jones, like he's the face of it. He's like the a really cool villain, but like
Yeah.
honestly, like even the third one, like especially the third one, like really makes him, I think, sympathetic in a way.
Yeah,
Not
true.
sympathetic, but like he's just a little freak who fell in love with like the sea and then like completely was taken advantage of in like by Calypso and then by Beckett in the East India Trading Company.
Yeah, true.
Like he's just a freak who just wanted to live and live happily, and then they didn't let him. Beckett was the true villain, and yeah, that scene specifically is like seared into my brain because it's just amazing on every angle. And the music, like
Yeah,
the moment and what it means. The fact that it was the Black Pearl and the Dutchman, like on both sides, like teaming up together and just blowing it from both sides, amazing.
yeah.
Just it literally so good. That's why I love these movies.
He like has his hand on the railing and then the railing like explodes and he doesn't even like move his hand.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a cool
such a
moment.
cool detail. Like it's such a cool, like that hand on the railing says so much because he's still like he will not let up that he lost composure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he's still just like, yeah, well, I'm just gonna casually walk down the stairs and like this
yeah,
just doesn't
true.
faze me as everything is blowing up around him. What about Davy Jones? What about his like slithery tentacles and like that scene
Yeah,
where he like reaches down his shirt and like picks up like the key that to the chest, I think it was, or whatever. What did
I
you
mean,
think
yeah.
of him?
I thought the design for him was really cool, actually. And honestly, like that whole arc with Davy Jones is like really dark. Um, Not like physically dark, but like dark in like the sense of like, like Disney is like about like kids and like whatever. I don't know. I felt like this was like a really dark um I felt like more like adults could like get into it and like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I thought they did a really good job with that, you
Yeah,
know?
I think another thing with these movies is like they are obviously like made primarily for kids in mind, like especially I
Yeah.
would say five was. Um But yeah, like again, like I kind of said the same thing about like Twisters. Like, the action is like so like at the forefront, but
Right.
you still get a really good story. And
Yeah.
like the first one specifically is like so well written and it's like a very self-contained story. Like I did like how they teased some things that came up later, which like I'm actually like off the top of my head forgetting what it was. I just know that they did. Um Oh, Bootstrap Bill was definitely teased in the first one.
Right.
Yeah. Um, the first one and the first, I love that there was so much setup and payoff. Like I feel like the dialogue was like so tight and like they were all like characters were like bouncing off of each other and like
Yeah.
the reveal of like Jack is also cursed and he like jumps into the moonlight so he avoids getting stabbed because the sword just goes like in his like suddenly empty rib cage
Yeah.
is such a reveal. And I remember like I saw the movie in theaters as a kid and like my mom like at that moment like audibly gasped
Right.
and like laughed. It was like the equivalent of like the late 2010s when like it became standard to like clap at a Marvel movie whenever like a cool thing happened, like Andrew Garfield reappearing in Spider-Man 3 and catching Zendaya. Spoilers.
Right.
Um yeah, that was like my first experience, I think, with clapping in the theater, and like it's such an earned moment, like,
Yeah.
and it just again it reinforces how clever Jack Sparrow is because like who would have thought he was cursed at that point? And like
Right.
like when I rewatched it, like obviously I kind of knew that, so like, I think he did like hint at it at some point, but it's just so well written, like it's so clever.
Yeah, I liked how like they were able to like all of the main characters, I feel like they play off of each other really well. Like I feel like it is like a really well written story for like the characters specifically, like in how they play off of each other.
Yeah.
And like on screen they feel like they or at least in the first one and like maybe the second one or so. They definitely feel like they're really like enjoying like doing the movies, you know, which
I like,
about
sorry.
it.
Yeah. I was gonna say I like Will Turner, like
Right.
he begins with like a very honorable not pirate. By the end
Yeah.
of the movie, like a pirate hater, like by the end of the trilogy, like obviously he's very much a pirate, but I think he's still an honorable pirate. Um like he's always like fighting for like the right reasons, I feel. And
Yeah.
except he does adapt and like he kind of knows like if I'm gonna work with Jack Sparrow, like I have to be 3 steps ahead of him, like he is of
Yeah.
everyone else, you know? And then also Elizabeth Swan, who like, oh my God, she has to be my favorite. She goes from like, like she's not a damsel in distress because they very
Right.
deliberately like subvert that trope. But like she's at first presented as a damsel in distress,
Yeah.
like with like her tight corset, like which causes the
Yeah.
entire series to happen, by the way. To the end of the third where she's the pirate lord and like, she literally like she outwits Jack Sparrow in like I think the most definitive way when she like ties him to the Black Pearl when they're being attacked by the Kraken.
Yeah.
And I think that moment is that's some when I think of pirates and how well written the first trilogy is, that is the moment that I think of because they spent the entire movie kind of like leaning into like, oh, is Elizabeth into Jack Sparrow? And like,
Yeah.
like they definitely had that flirtation going on, and like we as an audience were like, Elizabeth, like you were about to get married, like what's going on? And then it
Right.
turns out she was like outsmarting like the audience, and like
Right.
it's like like when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, like she's a pirate, like she outsmarted me, she outsmarted Jack Sparrow, like it's such a cool reveal.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, and did you know, on like a side note, did you know that Gore Verbinski directed the first three?
Yeah, he did
Um,
not direct 4 and 5, by the way.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's I actually really like him as a director. He did the Ring, the remake of The Ring, and um the Cure for Wellness. He did
I
that.
didn't see that, but I heard it was kind of garbage. Wait, I think I did see
It's not.
it. Did I see it?
It's actually pretty good, but it's really long. It's like too long, in my opinion.
I don't think I saw it, so I'll take your word for it. You're like, it's not.
Mia Goth is in it. Thank you very much.
Right.
Well,
Our
you don't
favorite
like Mia
actress.
Goth?
Dot dot
Okay.
dot.
Like when? Okay, wait. Unpack this. You don't like Mia Goth?
Okay, to be honest, I don't remember seeing her in anything. I don't think I've seen any of the Pearl movies. I'm just curious to see her in a non-Pearl role.
Akira.
How would it hold up?
What do you mean? Have you seen Nymphomania? Actually, I don't think she was in that. No, Shia LaBeouf's in that.
Yeah. Well, what did she have like a big role in A Cure for Wellness?
Um, yeah, she's like yeah. I mean, she's like in it. Like, yeah.
I don't know. I'm actually like you called me out. I don't know why I have like this weird bias against her, but like for some I've straight up like don't have
That's
any conscious
crazy.
memory of like seeing her in anything. But yeah, I'm like I think she's
She
she's
was
so
in,
in what, Nymphomaniac?
yeah.
Oh.
Infinity Pool. You didn't watch Infinity Pool?
Oh, Infinity Pool. That's
Suspiria?
okay. No, I didn't.
Nymphomania?
Oh my God, you're clocking my teeth so bad. I'm here to talk about the Disney movie.
I mean, yeah. We're about to do like a deep dive into Mia Goth.
I mean, I'm happy to be proven wrong. Like
Um,
sometimes I just have these biases
we're
and like I can't
me.
explain it. So
Literally me. Um, me with anything that's popular. But I should make you watch Nymphomaniac 1 and 2.
I
On the
really,
five
really don't
hours.
want to. Like, first of all, well that podcast will get like 60 views, like ceiling.
Right.
No one is searching up like Infomaniac video essay. Fuck you.
Okay, sure. I am. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you probably are.
Um, you're gonna get a lot of hate about not liking Mia Goth.
Send it my way. I'm ready. I actually do want like a hateful YouTube comment, so that, like I just just one, just so I can say that I've gotten it, and then like have it fuel me.
Wait, maybe we can do maybe you should watch the trilogy with Pearl and Maxine and X.
Do I really have to?
What's your aversion to
I mean, that was like kind of your reaction when I started watching Pirates
it?
and
Yeah,
Shrek. So
literally. No, but like
is this? Yeah, what?
when you want to.
They've honestly been on my list for like at least a few years, and like every time I'm like, hey, that's on HBO or whatever, like I should watch it. For some reason, I'm just like, not today.
Oh, you are something else,
I
man.
can't explain it. You know what? Because yeah, because you know what? Because I'm like, well, I'm actually gonna go watch the wheel scene from Pirates of the Caribbean too.
Literally. You're
On
like,
repeat.
I have to watch 4 and 5 Pirates of the Caribbean.
I know. The wheel scene, by the way, must be shouted out. Like every time that scene happens, it's like, by the way, obviously like cinema's greatest achievement. Um,
Right.
every time that scene happens, I get so excited for it to happen that I actually end up like passing out because I can't breathe and then I miss it and I have to rewind to the beginning.
You're you're out of control. Um
You should clip that, by the way. Well, please make
I
that a short.
I love how hyperbolic you are every time like anyone like you're like this is the greatest achievement in cinema history.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it is.
Um I loved in this franchise, at least in like the first two, there's like a lot of jokes that I feel like probably just like go over like little kids like heads, but like they're like for the adults. Mainly from Jack Sparrow's character, but I
Yeah,
feel like that like really adds to the I don't know, like likability of him for us.
yeah.
But
He's
also
funny.
it kind of adds to like the anti-hero-ness because like sometimes he makes like pretty crude jokes. Like when they were doing like the corset thing and he like cuts her corset off and he's like and the guy's like, "Oh, I didn't think of that." And he's like, "Oh, you've never been to Thailand." And it's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, okay." Like Jesus
yeah. It's
Christ.
like a slap in the fucking face.
Um,
Um,
but yeah.
yeah. The fifth one. Sorry, I watched the fifth one last night. If you hadn't heard, so it's very fresh in my mind. And like I just like it's just such a watered down version. Like they kind of repeat all those same jokes, but it's just like so
Right.
not funny anymore. And like literally, by the way, like this movie must have been written during like the LOL so random rise of Tumblr, in like
Right.
the mid 2010s or whatever. When
I
Tumblr
was
went
on that
mainstream, I
one.
should specify, because like there's a scene where like splash him awake with water, and he wakes up and he's like, "Spaghetti wolves."
Right.
Like that's the actual line of dialogue he says, and like that genuinely is when I knew that like Pirates was over. Um, by the way, was there spaghetti back then? Would a pirate have known about spaghetti back when, like, whenever the hell this took place?
Well, I mean, what do you mean?
I'm asking
What?
you historically, when spaghetti is this historically accurate
Let's
that
see.
Jack Sparrow would have known about spaghetti? Alexa, no, I'm just kidding. I just like
What?
really awkwardly like passed my drink in front of the camera. Anyway,
Um, oh wow. Okay. All right. Originated in the 12th century. When was that? When was the
I
century?
know, yeah, did like that answered the question.
Uh,
Wait. Okay. Oh my God. I searched would pirates have known about spaghetti, and the first result is how does Captain Jack Sparrow know about spaghetti?
right.
It's from a site called Stack Exchange.
I mean, well,
All right. So the
Yeah.
first answer, this is user submitted. This is by Die Shozen on February 7th, 2018 at 20:08. It says, well, seeing as wolves are in Europe and so is spaghetti, and there is regular trade between the Caribbean and Europe, as shown in the first movie. My guess is how while neither exist in the Caribbean, it doesn't mean he had never heard of them. I'm
Right.
taking that as scientific and factual. Thank you, Daishozen.
Yeah, it says the at least okay, this is on Wikipedia, so take it with a small grain of salt. It says the popularity of spaghetti spread through like from Italy over here in the 19th century.
19th.
But um it says the first written record of pasta was in the 5th century AD.
Okay. Okay.
But like, it didn't spread over from like that area. It was like in the Middle East, actually. That's wild.
So we're gonna go with it's reasonable that he knew about spaghetti and wolves. Is that where we ended up at?
Right. I mean, but is he that smart though to really know about that kind of stuff?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think knowing about spaghetti like takes like knowledge,
What?
like smarts. Like it's just
I
like I'm not smarter because I know what spaghetti is.
actually, you kind of are like you. Well, you just learned
No.
about spaghetti that you did. You just learned a bunch of stuff about spaghetti you didn't know.
Yeah, true, but like
Now you're a lot
I
smarter.
yeah, but like Jack Sparrow didn't. Like he didn't research when spaghetti came to be. He just knows about spaghetti. That's my
He fired up his Alexa.
This is the content people tune into us for, by the way. This is what we're obviously like famous for and why we have such a huge following
Honestly,
and why we get the big bucks.
we are slowly growing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our fault.
We're just gonna continue to have hyperbolic YouTube
Yeah.
titles.
Right. Well, yeah. You're just nuts. You're nuts. This is the greatest achievement in cinema history.
Well, I mean, prove me wrong. Like I'm sitting here and prove me wrong right now.
Have you seen Nymphomaniac 1 and 2?
I rest my case.
You'll watch those and you'll be like, oh wow, he's right. No,
This
I'm
is
just
better than the wheel scene.
um but yeah, I think that if you like I think anyone that's watching this should check out Corridor Digital, their channel,
Okay.
and their like when they brought the VFX guys from the Pirates movies on to talk about certain scenes that they did and what
Yeah.
kind of stuff went into them. Because I think it was like really cool. Those came out like 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't know. That was like really interesting to me to learn about the kind of stuff that actually went into them.
Do you
You know.
know what that team, I don't know if they're like a team or what, but like, do you know if they've gone on to do any more movies?
Oh yeah, it's ILM. Hello.
Well, explain it for the people who may not necessarily know what that is.
Um, True. I don't know like all of the movies they did, but they've done a lot. They've been around for a long time, since like the 70s.
Damn.
And they've done like pretty much any kind of like huge movie that you can think of that has insane VFX. They pretty much did it like from scratch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they did like Star Wars.
Yeah.
They started with Star Wars.
And like they're like the top of the top of like VFX.
OMG, they
Um
did they did Aquaman.
they did
They
Twisters.
did Twisters.
Well,
They
do
did
you want to tell
Aragon.
me? But
Can we talk
that
about Aragon? Do you remember that
right.
movie?
No, what even is that?
You don't know Aragon? It was like a crappy 2006 movie. Came out the same year as Dead Man's Chest, actually.
Oh well, I was too busy watching that. Thank
Same year as
you.
the wheel scene.
They also worked on the Avatar movies. Like if you, that's like the pinnacle of fucking VFX. So like
Yeah.
that's the type of stuff that they do, you know?
Nice.
And
Okay.
um that's like if you are like into learning about that kind of stuff or like what goes into that, that's those are like the guys that you want to like hear from, in my opinion, because they
Yeah.
know they are like they're not using like a, oh, let's load this up in Blender or like some free program. They're using like programs that they're inventing the programs that you have to like use, like someone like at home would use, you know? Like
By
that's
the
how
way,
invented they are.
they worked on Madam Web this year.
Right. Isn't that like your favorite movie?
I haven't seen it, but
That's just
probably would be with my track record so far.
um but yeah, and they kind of like I don't know. I think it's cool that like you get to like hear from those guys, and because a lot of people don't realize like what goes into making movies like this. Even if they do a lot of practical effects, they kind of mix them with VFX. And yeah, I just don't feel like people like appreciate it enough.
Yeah. There was, by the way, there was like what, like a 5 year gap between the first and the second of these movies. I think the
Right.
first was 2001, second was 2006.
Yeah.
They did film, I think, two and three like back to back.
Yeah.
Um, and
I have that written
it
down actually.
it shows, by the way, like the jump forward in VFX. Like the first one obviously had like great VFX for a movie that's like 20, like more than 20 years old at this point.
Yeah.
But the second and third straight up look like they came out like yesterday. You
Honestly,
know what I
like
mean?
there's some of
Like,
the best VFX around. And
yeah,
a lot of movies like I don't know. The nowadays I feel like they're it's not even like the VFX guys' fault or like the people working on it. It's more of like the studios like have like crazy deadlines and they're like giving them a week or like a couple days to work on something
yeah.
whereas like they probably had like a lot more time and stuff to like work on these movies.
Well, I saw ILM like worked on the Marvels and like kind of
Right.
recent Marvel movies, which have like notoriously like downgraded. Like Thor, well, I guess Thor Ragnarok actually was okay, but like a lot of recent Marvel movies have had like really bad VFX. So like
Yeah.
looking at this list, like they kind of have some stinkers too, but it makes sense that it doesn't come down to like team, it comes down to like deadline and studio demand.
Yeah, and in those in that series where they were talking to these guys, they do talk about how if like some people like have complained about like the CGI and the effects, and they've talked about how they'll literally be working on 3 or 4 movies at one time, and like they
Yeah.
only have a couple of weeks to work on them all, and it's just like, and then you'll get like a thing from like a director with no direction, and they're just like, can you make this out of nothing, and you have a week to do it. And it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I guess. You know, because they were just like trying to pump out
Yeah.
movies, and it's just like I would rather them take their time, you
I can relate. I can't, but like
know.
I've been in situations where I've had like ridiculous client demands, I guess.
Right. And
Universal doesn't matter in the industry, apparently.
I just feel like I feel like a lot of people don't even really talk about the VFX in these movies, but I feel like they're really good, especially for the time, because like they come out like 20 years ago, you know?
What about the music?
Right.
When I was in like fifth grade band, exact when I was in like fifth grade band, we did that. Like we
Right.
performed that song and like it forever, like obviously forever like seared in my brain. Like there's a lot of songs. Like there was one called Patapan that we
Right.
played, and not Peter Pan, Patapan, and like I never like I haven't looked it up. I don't even know if it's like a universally known piece of music or not, like since I played in fifth grade, but like I can still hear it perfectly in my head, which by the
Right.
way, 2 decades ago at this point. I
Um,
have not heard this song for 2 decades and I know it perfectly in my head.
do,
But yeah, no, Pirates is also forever seared into my brain.
speaking of the music, did you ever listen to The Lonely Island? Because Ashley wanted me to bring this up.
Wait, I don't know what it like. I know the Lonely Island. I don't know what they have to do with pirates.
Because they have a whole song about it. And
Oh, well,
they like I just it's I think you should go listen to it.
I mean, should I do it right now?
No, 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 no. After the podcast.
Get my live reaction?
But Ashley likes that song. It's in her like rotation of music that she listens to.
I want to point out like the absolute chokehold that these movies had on pop culture, like in
Right.
2006, 2007. Like I feel like I remember like we were like at elementary school still or whatever. Like I remember looking
Yeah.
forward to the summer because I was like, oh my God, there's gonna be like a new Pirates movie and like we're gonna see what happens like after the Kraken ate Jack Sparrow and
Yeah.
like all that stuff. Like oh my God, like these movies, like I didn't realize how much impact they had. Like again, like going back to like playing them in bands and like just looking forward to them and like
True,
I
true.
just like talking about Davy Jones with people like these movies are truly so influential to my childhood and like it is kind of insane like how much they fell off.
Oh shit.
No, anyway, I just remember like talking about it like people at high school, talking about the fourth one on Stranger
Right.
Tides and just like everyone I talked to like liked it, but I remember in my head I was like, dude, this was absolute garbage.
Right.
And like it's not actually I rewatched it for the first time yesterday in case you haven't heard. It's not as brain dead as I remember it being. It's just boring. Like
Right.
they introduce a lot of new characters and like they try to copy and paste the Will and Elizabeth arc into like the span of like one movie with characters who just don't have the time to care about. Um, there's a mermaid. There's actually one really cool scene where they're in a sailboat being attacked by mermaids, and like the lighting is cool. The
Right.
atmosphere about it is really cool. It was worth it for that alone. The mermaids were awesome in this movie, but that is straight up it. It's one action sequence to me.
Um, it's crazy that like a lot of people are still so invested in the like franchise, I guess. But like I see people talking, I still see people talking about like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, exactly. And like I went like I don't know. I think the fourth one came out, it sucked. The fifth one came out, I saw it, and I was like, well, that sucked. And then I never thought about it again until like recently when I randomly was like, I'm gonna rewatch these movies and we can talk about them. Um,
In case you
yeah,
haven't heard, he
like
rewatched
it it just like it fell off so bad. And like
Yeah,
the fifth one, I actually like. There's a lot in the fifth one that I actually kind of liked. Um, I would actually say the fifth one watchable. Not great, not good, but watchable.
right.
And it actually did have this crazy action sequence, which is like to me like almost wheel scene tier, where it's like Jack and a few other characters are in a sailboat once again, but they're being attacked by zombie sharks.
Right.
And then like Jack like figures out a way to like wrangle one and like throws a hook in the mouth of one and is like being pulled around by it. And there's like an army of like an undead ship crew like running at them, but they can run on water. It's straight up so over the top. It's actually like a great scene. Like I loved it. Um, so yeah,
Where
it does have stuff in that that like makes it kind of worth watching.
if they do make a new one or they continue the franchise and like actually go with it, where do you think they go from here?
Well, the end of the fifth one literally teased Davy Jones coming back,
Okay.
which kind of sucks. But also like you never saw the fifth one like ever, right?
Yeah.
the fifth, like spoilers, I guess, but like the fifth one basically is like, so Will and Elizabeth actually had a son, um, and he's like studying how to break curses basically, and like they find that there's a MacGuffin, it's Poseidon's trident, and they have to go like find it, and if they use Poseidon's trident, he's like, I can get my dad like out of the Flying Dutchman, basically, I can break that curse,
Okay.
and I'll have my dad back, and like long story short, like that happens, not in the way that it's expected to, but it does happen. Will is off the Flying Dutchman. Keira Knightley actually does show up in the fifth. She has
Hmm.
zero lines. She does not say a single word, but she is back in the fifth at the very end.
Right.
And we see her and Will reunite, and like, even though it's completely wordless, it's probably the best scene in the movie. Um, And then at the end, there's like a post-credit scene where it's like the two of them are together, they're like sleeping in bed, and then like Davy Jones like comes into the room, and then it just ends.
Right. Okay.
So we can assume that Will and Elizabeth will be back if they can get the actors on board. We can assume how like Davy Jones will be back. It seems like they're just going back to the well of like the second and third and what made them so successful, and repeating it. But at
Right.
this point, it's been 7 years. It's not even in pre-production yet. Like I kind of doubt that it's ever gonna happen.
Right. True. True. Um, do you think it could survive without Johnny Depp if they do something like that?
I think they reboot it, honestly. Like if you're gonna do another Pirates movie at this point, it's either everyone is on board, including Johnny Depp, or just don't do it.
Right. Right. But
As much
can
as it
he,
sucks.
isn't he like so embroiled in scandals that it's like I don't know if we
Yeah,
want him back.
I mean, yeah, I don't know the latest state of like like, sorry, I didn't follow it. Like, I don't care. But like, for me, it's like if you're gonna go back to the original trilogy, I want everyone
Yeah,
in the original trilogy. And if you can't for real world reasons, then don't do it. Is my
right.
viewpoint.
Yeah, true.
So if Johnny Depp's not on board, like that's fine. I get it. But like, I'd rather they just not do it then, because it's just
Yeah,
not gonna be. It's just not gonna be good.
yeah, I think I agree. I feel like I feel like he kind of like makes that character, you know?
Yeah.
Unless they like
Yeah.
AI him or something, but I don't know. That's crazy.
That would not be watchable.
That would not be watchable.
That'd
I
be
mean,
like such a grim piece of art
they've
media.
been they've been trying to do that type of shit,
They
like
actually
with
did
realistic.
CGI him like a younger Johnny Depp in the fifth movie, which looked very uncanny.
Right. But they have like I don't know, they've been like filmmakers have been doing some crazy, insane stuff lately with AI, and I don't know. It's kind of rubbing me
Yeah,
the wrong way.
but like what's like, okay, so like theoretically if they AI Jack Sparrow in, like what's the difference? They're still using Johnny Depp's likeness. Like just because it's not really him
Yeah,
there, does that mean like it's suddenly okay
right. Yeah,
that we're
true.
still watching him essentially? Like
I mean, yeah, true.
except now he's just fake. Now he's just a computer.
Right, right.
I don't want to watch that. Maybe you do.
I would watch it if they like futurized it and it was just like him in like a robot suit.
Like Captain Jack Sparrow is a robot? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, like
Oh,
make like Pirates
oh,
of the Caribbean, but like
pirate
in like
robots.
2400, 24 forty
Actually,
four.
you know what? Actually, yeah. I'm actually on board with that. Like, just do something so bizarre that it doesn't even make any sense at this point. Literally
It could be funny.
by the end of the fifth, like there's so much magic. There's like
Yeah.
gods. We know there's gods now. I mean, we knew that since the third, but like in the fifth, there's a
Yeah.
new god. Um, we know like every curse is broken by the end of the fifth. Like there's just so many rules and so much going on like in the universe that like
Yeah.
it already barely makes sense. Just fast forward a few centuries, same
Honestly.
characters, they don't acknowledge it. It's just 2400s. Why not?
literally.
Why not?
Um, okay, all right. Well, um,
Wait, I know we're winding down, but like, why didn't you like these movies? Like, you were very against this idea at first.
they're just not for me.
Just like they're
Um,
they're the country music of cinema.
no, no, okay. The first one, like, I don't hate it. I just like they kind of like I like the VFX. I'm just grown up. I don't know. Like
Wow.
I'm just joking. I don't know. I
You
really
weren't though. You
I
weren't
just
joking though.
like I just don't like the I don't know. Too it's too franchisey to me. I'm not sure I really like enjoy because I always
Just
like
dead
complain about
silence.
that anyway. Yeah, just dead silent.
I just like start crying.
Like because even in the horror realm, like they're making like a new Aliens movie, and it's like, isn't it like the ninth one? Like I don't know about that. Can we just get like something new?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like the third, I don't know. Like the first three are a trilogy. Like trilogies are allowed. Like I get where you're coming from with like four and five. Like yes, those are franchisey.
Yeah.
Third one, second one aren't really.
I
It's a
did watch
trilogy.
all three of them like years ago, the
Yeah.
first three. And then I like rewatched, obviously, but I mean, like for the first time when I first saw them.
Yeah. I mean, I think like listen, like they're bloated. They're not perfect. I'm not saying they're perfect. Like when I rate a movie 5 out of 5, it's not because it's perfect. That would be such a boring spectrum to rate on. It's because of how it made me feel
Yeah,
a human being.
yeah, no, I totally get it. And go on my letterbox and look at my 5 out of 5.
I'm actually like tear. We should, oh my God, that should be an episode where we just go through each other's 5 out of 5s and just roast the shit out of each other.
You're gonna be like, what the fuck is this?
I'd probably get like actually mad at some point.
Or like, what about how I have the Fast and the Furious, the first one, 5 out of 5? Do something about it.
You contain multitudes. See,
Multitudes. But I
how
don't
is
like any of the other ones. I don't like the other ones.
okay, well, first of all, like how is Pirates 2 franchisee and then Fast and the Furious, which by the way, like 25 movies in the past 7 years.
I mean,
How is that not a
no, it is.
franchisee?
I don't like the other ones. We make fun of
Okay.
those. But the first one is
Okay.
so good because it's not like a franchisee type movie.
The only one that I like is Furious 7 because it has Paul Walker's death scene in it.
What the fuck? Okay, goddamn.
No, 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 not because of that, but because like they did a good job with it.
Yeah, yeah,
Love you,
true.
Paul Walker.
I mean, literally. Have you seen Tammy and the T-Rex?
No. What
That's
kind of
okay.
question is that?
Because Paul Walker's in it and he's wearing a crop top the whole time. It's like peak hotness, Paul Walker. Like, what do you mean?
Okay, well, I've never heard of it.
It's
Sounds like
like
a
an,
kid's movie.
I mean, yeah,
I only watch movies for grown-ups.
literally.
So up next
You
is
hate me.
Shrek. Up next is Shrek and Pearl, from the
Right.
sounds of it. A Shrek deep dive.
We can just mix the two in one episode.
Shrek versus Pearl, what's better?
Uh, you're out of control.
I feel like I did fine this episode.
What do you mean?
I feel like I was very in control.
Right. Um, well,
Any final thoughts on Pirates, the best franchise ever and Disney's
it,
last good live action movies?
actually, yeah, like leave a comment down below and let us know if you guys think the Pirates of the Caribbean
Let
movies.
us know who's right. Who was more
Yeah.
correct this episode, me or him? The
and let
Tammy and the
that
T-Rex stand.
and let that tear us apart.
Tear us apart more than we already are.
Yeah, cause a rift on the podcast, please.
End our friendship.
It'll make it more entertaining.
Dox both of us and frame the other.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.